But that would be my point to all those out there that are harping that Aaron Gordon deserved this championship, is that you can't peak early. Right, he had all those 50s at the beginning, but if you know you're going to go into a competition with a great dunker like Derrick Jones Jr., you know possibly you're both going to get 50s because you have some skill over there. You should be prepared to do more dunks as you go along that can continue to get 50s or at least get you the high 40s. Derrick Jones Jr. did that. Gordon did not. Now, Gordon's last... Welcome to the ChadBurn Show, brought to you by M. Chad Baldwin. Welcome to the ChadBurn Show. I am your host, M. ChadBurn. And as always, running the behind the scenes, making sure this show runs, is the one and only Julien Ramboise. Say hello, Julien. There he is, folks. Well, we've got another great episode for you this week. Want to thank you all for joining in as always. This is episode 23, and we are starting to get further into the basketball season talk. We are now at the halfway point, with tonight being the All-Star game. So we're going to have a little fun talking some All-Star with the All-Star Skills Challenge 3-point contest and the dunk contest last night. Yes, we're recording Sunday, so last night was Saturday, and the All-Star festivities have begun in full swing. Did not watch much of the Rising Star game. We could talk a little of that, but we do, obviously, one of the favorite things I like watching is the dunk contest and all the skills. So we're going to break those down. Were there winners? Was Aaron Gordon robbed? Did he deserve a championship after this hard-fought competition? Or did Derrick Jones Jr. do enough to seal it? Second, we'll move into kind of want to talk on an interesting topic that doesn't get a lot of coverage, but I had some people who are bringing it up, and it's just bizarre to me, so I thought we go for anyone out there that likes it. But the Westminster Dog Show, talking about the standard poodle champion, Seba, and obviously the losing underdog of the fan favorite Golden Retriever. And then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of a off-the-cuff burn list. I have some thoughts, and I just want to have an unfiltered just rant on the Astros apology this week for their cheating scandal in 2017. My first reaction to it, my raw emotions listening to it, and how it impacted a lot of other teams and players after this. So that will be fun to talk about as well. But we got to hit what's relevant, what's newsworthy, what's exciting, especially in the basketball world, and that is All-Star Weekend. Last night, we got to see both the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, and the dunk contest. All of them I thought were actually really exciting, very good. The one that always kind of irks me is I don't really find it that interesting, which is why it obviously goes first, is the skills challenge. The dribble up and down the court with the pass, and then they need to make a full court layup, then come down and make a 3-pointer. Yes, absolutely, it's part of the skills of the game, but it's really not that exciting. It was funny to see all the big men win out last night. Bam Adebayo really kicking ass against all the little guys, and then obviously going to the finals and taking out from the Pacers, Sobanato? Yeah, is that whatever his name is? But still, it's not, the thing is about it is I was watching it I was doing some other stuff, but I'm watching it now, making sure I saw every competition I went through. It is an interesting skill. It's an interesting challenge. The dribbling went out, but they just don't seem like they're ever going full speed. They're kind of working just half-ass. They're smiling, they're having a good time. But in general, it's just not one of those things that you find really exciting where you're like, whoa, wow. Because it's all the stuff they can do, right? Like the people that go to that challenge, it's not anything about them is that much more special than the next player. Like every person that's in the NBA can do that skills challenge, right? I can do that skills challenge. It's nothing that is, I would say, that difficult. What I'd like to see is, and you saw some of them, I'd just like to see more of them hustle, make it more exciting, closer, a quicker match. I would say the finals were interesting because obviously, they both missed the 3-pointer twice and they had to go to the last shot. So I think that, it does get a little more exciting in that sense. But in general, it's not really the show of the night. That's not the one you're going to come see. So I don't want to talk about that a lot, but I found it an interesting one to put on and put in the background. but you're definitely not following that closely. The champion of that is not going to really, blow any minds or, be the main headline of that weekend. But it's a good tease into the evening. And finally, we moved on next was obviously into the three-point contest. Now, finally, something to talk about. The three-point contest, I love. There's something about the long distance shot, the skill behind it, the level of difficulty, the ability when they get on a roll to make 4, even sometimes 5 in a row. I think, I don't know if it was Buddy Hield or Bertens who made 6 in a row at the end in the first round, went on a 6 in a row streak. Like, that kind of stuff is very cool and exciting. So the 3 ones that moved on to the finals were Bertens. We obviously had Buddy Hield, and then we had Booker. I thought this was going to be Booker's night because Booker had been snubbed from the All-Star game wrongfully. That man should have been on there easily, at least in the reserves, without having to take the spot of an injured Damian Lillard. And he was our champion in 2018. So I thought going in, he's going to play with a little fire. He's going to try and prove something. He's going to be a little upset. He was snubbed and might as well come in and win a contest while he's there that weekend. But it became a very close match between him, Buddy Hield, who has been a finalist in years past, and Bertens from the Wizards. Bertens, I was rooting for as kind of the underdog. I was kind of excited. This lanky white dude who looks goofy out there with like zero muscle mass, who's just kind of flicking the ball up there, and was definitely competitive through. The first round was amazing with the 27s and the 26s making them able to move forward. I'm not surprised with Trae Young, who is the new version of Buddy Hield. Trae Young did not do well. He kind of sucked. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the first part, but it was the Heat player. Also, just, not enough. A lot of players that didn't break 20 in the first round. And normally when you get a low 20, you have a chance to move on. And some of the players that got kicked were at 22, 23. But it was incredible the first round with Booker coming out so hot and Buddy Hield right in his tail that it was 27s and 26s that allowed the top 3 to move on to the final. But with the addition of the deep Mountain Dew ball shot, which I think was 33 feet, it was just a more exciting three-point contest in my opinion. There was a lot more added to the extra 3 points rather than the 1 and 2. The money ball rack that they could position wherever they wanted to. So I saw some people trying to strategize having at the top of the key or on the wings to where they shoot better. Most, I would say, obviously put as the last rack. So when they're finally warmed up and getting a groove, they can really hit those shots, the closer shots on the baseline. So you saw that was the general strategy going forward. But there was a lot more to it. It was really cool. You could show that some put a lot of value in that deep shot with the Mountain Dew because it's worth 3 points. You saw some people really trying to move around the court where they wanted to have their money ball rack so that they could be repaired, can have a shot they're better at. In one player's case, I forget what it was. I think it was the third one at the beginning. I just don't remember because it was in the finals. But he put the money rack right in the middle because he's a really good middle shot. And he made almost 4 or 5 of the money ball rack, which really helped him in the points, but he just couldn't complete everywhere else. So you could see that it did have some advantages in certain situations. Come to the finals. Bertens did okay, he's 22, but Booker comes out showing it was on fire. I think it was 26. Let me get the score right. Yeah, Booker had 27 in the first round, 26 points in the second round. So you thought it was going to be a tough one for Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield wins it on a last shot money ball rack. He needed to make, 4 out of 5 of the money ball rack to win, and he did it. It was so cool. It was very exciting. Something to my point where my wife doesn't watch a lot of the basketball, but she was into it because it was just all the way to the last second. So it was exciting for Buddy Hield, exciting for people that were watching. It's just cool to see the three-point contest actually have some, hype to it. And because I do think it's one of the really tougher skills there, and it is obviously in this day and age, in this type of sport we're playing, that's where you pick people. In the skills challenge, you can have anyone do it. In the three-point contest, it really does take a certain skill set to be able to excel in that competition. And that's why we're seeing some of the best. We've seen Steph Curry in the past. This year, you had some of the younger guns in the three-point range, people that are really top of their game right now. I think, Buddy Hield was second with 3 points made. Trae Young with the highest percentage there. You have Bertens that was up there as well. I think top 3 in field goals made this season. So it was cool to see kind of your top 3-point scorers actually out there and competing. And man, did they put on a show. I got to give them credit. That was a really great, exciting show. And a great, I would say, an appetizer, really getting the palate ready for the dunk contest. Because we're all hyped we'd see some really good skill. What were we going to see in that dunk contest? With the return of Aaron Gordon, who had been wrongfully snubbed after making the sitting dunk over his mascot, which was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen, losing to Zach LaVine, could he make a return, a redemption in this contest? Now, this is going to be one that's going to have controversy for a while with regards to the dunk contest. We've had our Michael Jordans and Dominique Wilkins. Of most recent, we had where Aaron Gordon lost to Zach LaVine. Now we had something completely different, something that went on past the original 4 rounds. Now, obviously, all the dunkers at the beginning get 2 rounds to shoot. Dwight Howard did not necessarily impress me on this first dunk. He missed it trying to do the Statue of Liberty. I felt that, he kind of came through in the second one, but it was just not enough to get over the hump. I thought that Connaughton was good. Connaughton did well. I think the kiss off the backboard shot was sick. Like, that was one of those dunks, though, that needed to be slowed down. And that's why I think it hurt him in points. I know he got 50 on that one. His first one, he just couldn't come through with his first dunk not being great. But that was a sick one. It was worthy of a 50. Absolutely amazing. When you slowed that down, there's so much skill you need in timing, jumping over Giannis to make that happen. Like, that's incredible. Then the man of the night, Derrick Jones Jr., who had a decent one to begin, so enough to get him with the 50 in the second, because there were so many 50s in the second round, in the second dunk of the first round, that he luckily had enough in the first. I think it was a 47 to help him move on. But Derrick Jones Jr. had the between the legs dunk down last night, okay? That man was flying from the side of the court. He was flying over people's heads. He was flying from the foul line. The dude was just between the legs on everything, and it was graceful. It was beautiful to watch. He had, I would say, the cleanest dunks, in my opinion, came from Derrick Jones Jr. Now, he had the 50 only in the second one. Aaron Gordon, again, impressing and just kicking ass with just the ferocity of his dunks, the athleticism, the also ability to make certain dunks that look simple but are so complicated, like being able to go by returning the opposite direction away from the hoop, moving away back from the basket, and coming back and be able to then slam it while passing by it. Things like that, things that like he really thought about in order to add on a skill up to things we see every time at the dunk contest. And that's what I love about Aaron Gordon. He adds a layer of creativity, a layer of almost ingenuity to these dunks, that it's not just continued recycled product, right? The reason Howard didn't move forward, because it's everything he had done from when he was a Superman, okay? When he was Superman jumping at the highest rim. That kind of stuff I don't find impressive, right? Dwight Howard's almost 7 foot. Of course, if he can jump, he could be able to reach a 15-foot hoop. Like, that's just how it goes. And that's not, in my opinion, impressive, right? Jordan jumping from the foul line, that's impressive because when you slow it down, you just see how far you're going. I get it. Some people have more vertical and can jump higher, but I want to see some skill. I want to see some creativity with it. And that's what Eric Gordon and Derrick Jones Jr. did, with both bringing the audience into it, with off the side of the backboard, with the alley-oop off the backboard. It was just everything about it was really impressive. What we then saw as they went into the finals, and this is where the controversy begins, right? Both of them score 50s off 2 dunks. Most people announcing thought they should just share the co-dunk championship title. But there were rules in place that it now went to a dunk-off. Now, Aaron Gordon wasn't happy because Aaron Gordon had 4 50s in a row, right? Derrick Jones Jr. had only done 3 previously. So in his opinion, he had done the best of all the dunks of the night. Now, most people say because he had incredible dunks, all 4, that should have meant that he was the winner of that competition. But that's just not how the rules go. The point is that once you get to the end, if it's going to be a dunk-off, it's going to be whoever scores the best at the time, not what they had done previously. Yes, they set a precedent so that after, I think it was 2 times doing it, if the scores still were even, they would give it to a judge's table, judges to rule. But that would be my point to all those out there that are harping that Aaron Gordon deserved this championship, is that you can't peak early. Right, he had all those 50s at the beginning, but if you're going to go into a competition with a great dunker like Derrick Jones Jr., possibly you're both going to get 50s because you have some skill over there. You should be prepared to do more dunks as you go along that can continue to get 50s or at least get you the high 40s. Derrick Jones Jr. did that. Gordon did not. Now, Gordon's last dunk, and this is the point we're also going to go after, but Gordon needs to be able to sustain the dunks all through. If he's going to prepare a dunk off, that's just how the rules go. That's just how it goes, man. You can't just hang on your laurels from earlier, all right? Just because you had a great first dunk doesn't mean that's what decides the championship later on. So I like that Derrick Jones Jr. was willing to go into it and do the dunks, and no matter what the judge was saying, whereas Gordon was kind of complaining. Finally, after they've both done 50s now a bunch of times, we get to the last dunk. And we're kind of figuring out that if they both are still tied after this, the judges will decide. Derrick Jones Jr. tries to recreate with, obviously, he's got the runway, he's the airplane, he's launching and whatnot. He tries to recreate the Michael Jordan off the foul line. He misses it by just a step, but there was something about it. He gets on the first try. There was a beauty to it. When you slow down, you could see the elevation, the extension he gets with the ball, the cleanness of the dunk. It was then followed up by Aaron Gordon, who then goes for his dunk. He goes to jump over Taco Fall. Now, Taco Fall, for you guys don't know, is on the Celtics. Is a 7'5", some say 6-inch man, of a large individual, a big man. Aaron Gordon tries to dunk over him. So Taco Fall is holding the ball right there, and Gordon's going to go over, get the ball, jump over him, and dunk. Gordon does eventually get over Taco Fall and make this dunk happen. But people are shouting that had to be 50s. In my opinion, that was not as nice as Derrick Jones. Derrick Jones had a great dunk that was clean, that showed a lot of skill, that requires a lot of athleticism to be able to go that distance, recreating an iconic dunk that not everyone can do. And Gordon does the jump over Taco Fall, which is amazing because of the elevation. But as I alluded to earlier, I am not a fan personally of those height dunks. I think that the skill set shows of what you can do with the ball and what you can do with the amount of time you're in the air, not how high and how large is your vertical. On top of that, it was not a clean dunk over Taco Fall. Gordon's thigh clearly hit the back of Taco's head. He clearly did not actually clear Taco. He cleared his shoulders, but not the head. So in essence, what he was trying to accomplish, he did not. He failed. And that means he should get a lower score than Derrick Jones. Do they need to change the rules going forward? Absolutely. Should it just be that after the 2 rounds of the finals, if they're tied at the score, it goes to a judge's decision, or they go with the best dunk of the night and whoever had that wins? I would be fine with that. I think Gordon, before we got into the 5th, 6th, 7th round, did have the better dunks of the evening, and you could have easily just awarded him the championship. You could have shared it with a Cohen, absolutely. So those will have to be discussed next year. Now we know this can be a problem, but because of what the rules were and the way it played out, I think Derrick Jones Jr. won it fair and square. I don't think the judges were bad. I think the judges made the right call. I don't think that dunk at the end by Eric Gordon was his best. I think it really showed that he had given everything he had early on and could not think of anything else creative-wise. So in that respect, you got to give it to Jones. And Derrick Jones Jr. did a great job. It was a hell of a dunk. I really liked it. I rightfully thought he earned it. I thought he deserved that championship. I thought he deserved being the dunk contest winner. And I know a lot of people are complaining, a lot of people, Gordon. I think there's also a little sentiment that because Gordon was robbed last time, he should have earned it this time. But that's not how it works, folks, okay? It's just not how it goes down, all right? The dunks have to be all the way through the end. They're compared one off each time. They all scored 50 before. Finally, they get to the last one. He had to beat it. He didn't. With all that controversy, tonight is the All-Star game. I'm not going to go too into it. We'll always talk about it next week after it and kind of discuss it. But obviously, the better team is Team LeBron. Giannis Antetokounmpo did a terrible job drafting. I love he went with Joel Embiid for the first pick because he's my guy. But in general, all right, so the starters are LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Luka, and James Harden, right? That's an all-star team. Versus Giannis, Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam, Kemba Walker, and Trae Young. Bro, you start off all on bigs? And not even the best big? Like, you wouldn't even go Kawhi Leonard? Anthony Davis is gone, and you didn't pick up Kawhi Leonard. I love Joel Embiid too, but he's not Kawhi Leonard. You could have paired yourself with Kawhi to take a chance at LeBron, and you didn't. You let LeBron get Anthony Davis, come on. That's just a beat. That's just dumb drafting. Like, he clearly was only picking his friends. He's not picking to win a game. Like, Pascal Siakam, great guy, but in that draft of all those players, he's probably before Trae Young. Like, Trae Young's the last pick, but Pascal Siakam's before that. Like, he's not your second player on your team. And Trae Young, I mean, you don't pick him over James Harden. You don't pick him over Luka. I mean, it was just incredible. He left all the good players on the board for LeBron just to gobble up and take. And this is kind of what they got left with. So for starters, obviously, LeBron, I give him the edge. I think that's a better team. We know they're not playing that competitively, but for what they'll be playing, the offensive production they'll be getting, I think obviously LeBron gets the edge. For the reserves, LeBron's got, obviously, he's going to have Booker now because Lillard's injured. We got Simmons, Jokic, Tatum, Paul, and Westbrook, Sabonis. And, I think that's a good reserve. And for Giannis, obviously, with his teammates of Middleton. Then he brought in Adebayo, Rudy Gobert, Lowry, and Ingram. I mean, it's just, they're not very balanced teams. I think both the reserves are pretty evenly matched. So you got to give it to starters, and that's LeBron. So that's going to be beatdown night. I hope it should be a great game. I'm excited. A lot of aerials, a lot of great just athleticism throughout that game. It's going to be one hell of a match. So I look forward to that. We'll talk more of it next week. So now we'll move into our second segment of the show. We'll kind of just gloss over this, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The big dog show of the week was obviously the Westminster Dog Show. And the Westminster is one of the most bizarre things that people really get into. My dad has been watching because my dad's retired. He's a huge. We most of our life we grew up in Newfoundland, so he kind of watches because he likes seeing the working dog class and seeing the big dogs like the Newfoundlands, the mountain dogs, the golden retrievers. That's something he likes to see and watch. But in general, sometimes you get sucked in, right? Because there's this bizarre magic sense of this competition that you kind of gotta take in and enjoy. But yeah, so the fan favorite going into the night was Golden Retriever beat out the Newfoundland in the working sporting class. Going down into the finals, we had ourselves, and I'll show a picture. We'll see what we're gonna put up probably over here of the champion, which was the Poodle, Siba. I don't know how Poodle won. If I went on just looks alone on a dog, Poodle is not winning. I would have easily gone with the Golden Retriever. I think he was robbed of the championship. There's a conspiracy here against the Retrievers because they are just seen as the fan favorites, easy class dog. But that dog was a stud. He was ready to go, and maybe it was a sheep. I apologize. But the Golden Retriever was doing great. But I mean, seriously, anyone that's listening to the show, if you could put some comments, whether on Instagram at ChadBurn Show or email me at chadburn.show@gmail.com. I need to know more. What is this show? Like, how do people get sucked into this? Like, it's amazing. I don't know if it's a white people thing, if it's an American thing, but there is something that, like, watching the dogs, seeing them go through, and I guess so they're obviously looking at the coat, the teeth, their stance, the way they walk. Like, to me, they all just look like good dogs. I think they all would be great. But there's clearly something that's distinguished because you get to those toy dog categories, and you've got 5 Yorkies, a bunch of different, Bichons that all look the same, and somehow this judge is distinguishing one that's better. Clearly, they're seeing something I'm not, but I don't know. We'll ask our producer, Jules. What do you think of these dog shows, the Westminster Dog Show?
They bore me to death.
Right? Yeah. But people watch it. It's a big time event. If you look, it's on the. I don't know which channel it was on this year. I don't know if it was CNN or NBC, but it's always on a major channel. They'll show all the events, and people sit down to actually watch it. Is this an American thing?
I think so.
Are there competitions worldwide for dogs? I don't know. I think it's an American. I think it's
an English thing.
Like a British thing?
It does feel like a British thing.
I could see a British thing because there's this kind of this rich people type of thing, right?
Yeah.
This is definitely a wealthy person competition, because a normal person with a dog, you just got your dog, you take care of your dog, but you're not gonna do this kind of shit, like breeding a dog to be a champion with the coat and everything. Bro, I'm looking, and hopefully I can share some pictures of this during the show on our YouTube channel for the video feed of this. But, I mean, there are dogs I'm seeing in this video that have more curling irons in their hair than my wife does on any night we go out. It is insane the amount of stuff they put on these dogs to get them ready. Like, it's crazy. Like, they groom them down to a T. And I don't know if these dogs are enjoying it. I'm sure they get a very good life, treated very well, and almost like royalty. But it's bizarre. And we had actually growing up a dog that came from a shelter that was a show dog. And what's sad is that in a lot of practices, I don't think they do it anymore, Julian, and you might find this interesting. Our dog we got is that he was a breeding dog. He could no longer show. He could no longer breed. He's getting old. So they were going to put him down because he no longer had a use. Yeah, they're going to put him down. So they called up my parents because we had one of his like, I guess, grandchildren, I guess we said grandpuppies, was one of our dogs. So they called and said, would you want to adopt the dog? Because obviously, he's going to be put down. He's not part of the service here anymore. My parents, of course, adopt him. But what's amazing is that, like, while these dogs, I think, do live good lives, they live very different lives from other dogs.
Right.
Because he, for example, when he got into a yard with a fence, he wasn't in a crate anymore. He left our yard a lot because he would just walk straight and then just go through whatever was there. Like, if whatever was there didn't stop him, he kept walking. And he would end up in people's garages just because he would go to some shelter that was eventually was a wall where he'd stop. Because he had no idea about open space, about the idea of having these barriers in an open space. Like, that was foreign to him. And it was almost sad, but fascinating because he was a happy dog. He's a well-trained dog. He's very healthy. But it was just this mental, psychological thing where it's like, what's this life outside of a crate or outside of four walls? So it was very, very interesting. I mean, that's why I'm curious about how the dogs are raised nowadays, because that was obviously 20 years ago. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother world. But man, guys, if you're listening, you got to look up this golden retriever, Daniel. Like, he's a good dog. That's a good dog. I love sports that are about animals. Jules, do you ever watch the agility competitions with these guys?
I did not. No, I don't think it's something no.
I don't think you would either. But I'm saying they have for the agility things where they run through the tubes and like they cut through and they run over the walls and whatnot. And they have those Australian Shepherds going, and they are like bullets. These things cannot stop themselves. They run so fast, it's incredible. They are so athletic. I'd like to give them a football like scholarship and give it to a ball. I want to see Air Bud, but with a Australian Shepherd. It's incredible. But we won't talk about this much longer. I just thought it was fun to bring up because it is a very large sporting event in obviously the United States for the dog showing people. It's cool to catch every once in a while. It's funny to look at the pictures. But man, do people treat their dogs a whole nother way in this universe. Absolutely bizarre. But again, champion to the standard poodle. Let's see if you can repeat next year, right? That's what we all care about. Champions. Who wins? Now we talked a little about the All-Star game, which is the big news right now. Talked a little bit about the doggies. Talk about the good doggos at the Westminster Dog Show. I got to now hit something that's going to be part of, well, all right, so we'll say this is going to be a part of our...
The ChadBurn Show Burn List.
That's right. We're going to be talking in this segment, off the cuff, ranting just a little bit about the
Houston Astros.
Yes. They, this week, the Houston Astros, decided to give, finally, down in spring training, an apology for their cheating in 2017. Now, I have not written anything down. I have not prepared any remarks. I just put a note in my book and said we need to talk Astros apology, and this is a rant and anger, so I had to put it towards the burn list. But basically what we saw down in Florida with the owner of the Astros, the new GM, and Altuve and Bregman, two of their top players that year, and two of the top players on the team, we saw a pathetic waste of time for every sports fan out there, including their own fan base, for what was the most mediocre, BS, shitty apology I have ever seen. They basically just came out there and said, oops, we don't give a fuck what you think. We just did it and we won. The owner literally came out and said that he did not believe it had an effect on the game, the cheating, and that their team was good and won the World Series. 55 seconds later, when asked about that, he goes like, well, I didn't think it didn't have an impact on the game. They had no idea what they're saying. They're out there just reading stupid talking points, trying to appease people so that they will no longer try and strip them of a title without having any sincerity, without having any meaning behind it. There is the level of morality in that ball club is below zero. They are heading towards the pits of hell with their levels of morality, that team. It is just the most reprehensible BS this league has to deal with in the Houston Astros, okay? Guess what? You cheated, you had an unfair advantage, and you keep kind of trying to come out and to, I guess, normalize with the rest of the league, but you did it, and you got caught. Okay? It doesn't matter what everyone else might be doing. No one was using cameras the way you were to look at the signs. No one was possibly feeding wiretapping into the ear of players during their batting. Okay, we don't have evidence of it, obviously, but Altuve was obviously trying to cover over himself when he was when he came off the home run. Didn't want his jacket being ripped up. We got to wonder why. If they're giving off signals, banging trash cans, making noises, using noises within the stadium to signify different pitches that are coming in, we are obviously not going to say they couldn't have recorded them and had wiretappings into their ears so that they could listen in from their coaches. And they said that, what was it, Correa's coming out saying that the reason he didn't want to take off his jersey is because he had a tattoo he didn't want to show? Yeah, okay, we seen the Instagram afterwards, all right? Days after. He's got nothing. All right, all these excuses, all of these little fantasies are trying to tell the people to let them think that this is not as big a deal as it is. It's a huge deal. Teams lost. The World Series did not get the opportunity to the World Series because of their cheating. Because of a whole system plan they had in place with the garbage cans, with listening in, getting it from the center field camera, and also the numbers. Like, not only the plan and how they executed it, but the hitting numbers of these players. Altuve had almost 4 times better hitting at home than away. Yes, players usually hit better at home than they do away, but not at that rate, and not consistently in all aspects of the offense. This team robbed the New York Yankees. This team robbed the LA Dodgers of a chance to not only get to, with the Yankees case, but then to win a World Series. And all those players deserve to come out and say that the Astros screwed them of a title. The Astros should be ashamed. They should really start actually thinking about their stupid actions here, and the players need to be held accountable. Bregman and Altuve's apology was pathetic. They looked like a kid who just came out, was told by their parents that they had to apologize, and in their head they're going, this is not that big a deal. I don't know why everyone's making a big deal of this. All I did was win that title. Come on, it's not that big a deal, guys. Leave me alone. But because the adults in the room told them they had to say something, they gave them a piece of paper and they read it. That's all they did. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. It was a sham of an apology. It was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. They should all be embarrassed. And the players that have left and got onto organizations have already come out with their own small apologies. They want to move forward. They want to create their own legacy outside that team. Luckily, the coach has been axed. The people that were involved with it, with obviously Correa over in Alex Cora, who was the manager of the Red Sox, has been axed. Obviously, Carlos Beltran, who was at the Mets, has been axed from his title. All those people from there, but the players have not been punished. And the players are just as culpable in this, okay? And there are even players that have come out that said they didn't want to take part, so they didn't take part in the cheating because they knew it was wrong. That's how wrong. Like, if you're trying to say that this is a normal thing that other teams are doing, then how come players in your own clubhouse said this, we shouldn't do this? It's an absolute disgust. And the problem is baseball is dealing with the numbers that people don't want to watch. And now you have this scandal, and you're going to have fan bases outside the Astros who are now going to think it's not worth watching because obviously the league is against them, that they're not going to rightfully punish the teams that are responsible. It's reprehensible. I don't understand what the MLB front office is doing. For whatever reason, they want to protect these players, and they want to continue to just move past this, but you're not going to, because no justice has been dealt. This is so wrong. So wrong. That 2017 title absolutely needs to be vacated. They did not earn it. They do not deserve it. That should be gone. None of them should get a ring. But that's the thing. Like, in the end, none of these players care because they have the ring, because it will go down on their resume. If any of them possibly going in the Hall of Fame, that's on their resume now. And it shouldn't be. It should be gone. That title, Over. Done with. They can earn another one, but not at that BS. 2017. Fuck. I can't believe we're still dealing with this shit. It's absolutely insane. Didn't affect the game. My ass. These guys, absolutely pathetic. Well, those are my raw emotions towards this. I had to sit through and watch that and just couldn't believe I was watching it. They just don't care. They just don't care. And nothing's going to change. It's just going to be a storyline for the rest of the year. They're going to play their games. They're going to get booed in different stadiums. Pitchers will throw at the heads of the other players. They're going to hit them, bonk them with the ball, and they better take it. If one Astros player tries to charge them out after getting the ball, they better sit their ass down, okay? Because they deserve it. This is how the MLB, they say they police their own. Well, get ready to be policed, okay? That's what's happening, Astros. There's going to be a lot of balls coming right at you. So be ready, all right? Be freaking prepared. I'm done with it. It's ridiculous. If they get in the World Series this year, it's going to be all hell break loose. They better have a crappy season. The karma better come around. It's ridiculous. Ugh. So on that note, folks, now that we wrapped up this, we obviously talked some fun stuff with the skills competition, the All-Star game, talk about our thoughts of what will happen tonight, a little sprinkling in of something outside of our normal talk with Westminster Dog Show, and finally a little bit of a burn list to go after the Houston Astros. It was just, I had to get that off my chest. I hope that you were able to listen and enjoy the show. We're going to end it here. Till next time. Obviously, we'll be airing on Monday at 6 p.m., recording today on Sunday. But if you have any questions or like to reach out to us, you can always email me at chadburn.show@gmail.com. Again, that's chadburn.show@gmail.com. We also are primarily on Instagram, but we are on some TikTok and Facebook. You guys reach us at the ChadBurn Show. Again, it's at ChadBurn Show. You can DM me, reach out for any questions, any comments you want to talk about. If you want to keep up to date with when our newest episodes will be airing or anything we want to share, you can check it out on Instagram or on Facebook. As always, we really appreciate listening in. If you are interested in this stuff, make sure to follow us on Instagram or subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the videos as they come in and get updated when new content is available. But we really love having you guys listen in. Continue to participate in it. It makes our show better and great. And we just want to continue to give you a great product. So as always, thank you for listening in. We love having you on. Until next time, have a good evening. Good night.